going on? It's your boy Sermon, thesermonsdomain.com, access 206. We're at Jupiter Studios with Jay Pinder, man. Talk to us about what the people just saw, about, you know, some of the footage from the session.
People just saw the creative process, man, the pre-production stage of my next album. A little glimpse, a little taste. Me and Kuddie's producing the whole thing. Well, me and Kuddie are producing the whole thing. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think I'm thinking the best thoughts I've ever thought. And I'm about to make the best music that I've ever made. Hopefully I'll be saying that again.
So when you guys are doing like the pre-production, are you recording like any songs, or are you just kind of doing the beats first and then coming up with all the song ideas?
Well, we have a philosophy for the album that we're following, so we kind of have the concept of the record in the back of our minds as we create. We know some of the subjects and things that we want to touch on, so we're creating music and themes based on those concepts. I randomly wrote a song to one of the themes that we made already, which I wasn't supposed to do. Like, we're really supposed to be starting this record like January 20th, but we got a nice head start.
What do you mean starting January 20th?
Like, we're coming back here January 20th to really like go in the zone. Like, we're about to rent a house and bring equipment in there and just focus on nothing but what we're doing. Going to just the cave and try and create something special. So we're ahead of schedule right now, which is good. So we're working the kinks out, getting the ice off, and by the time we come back after the holidays, we'll be in full stride, and we'll start. I'll start writing actual words to the stuff that we've been creating. We'll start recording demo stuff or real stuff, depending on how we feel, and from there we go into actual mixing and well, post-production, I should say, and then we'll go into mixing and mastering.
Yeah, so you live in LA now, and you've been in the studio with Dr. Dre numerous times. What's one thing that you've taken away from being in the studio with Dre that you kind of apply, when you're in the studio with Kuddie?
It's interesting because, like, I've always sort of patterned my, my musical philosophy after Dre. I'm sure Kuddie has as well, and a lot of other people. But, like, getting in there with him, like, realizing how similar our thought process was when creating was dope. It made me feel like I was on the right track. He's 1,000 times better than me at it, but the biggest thing that I took from him was his attention to detail. He's a meticulous dude. He is very, like, you gotta hit it the way he wants you to hit it. Like, it has to sound the way it sounds in his head. If it doesn't sound that way, then he's gonna make you do it 100 times until it sounds that way. And I think that's something that a lot of artists get frustrated with. But when they see the end results, they're like, oh, I understand now. But it's just something about not being content with your performance all the time. Like, really demanding the best out of yourself, and getting to the point, even the point of frustration, to get it out of you. And I think that's something that I've taken out of the studio with him. I haven't quite applied it yet because we haven't got to recording and stuff like that, but that's something I didn't do the last records. I was very I was going through a phase where I was like, I like it natural. I like the fuck ups. I like and I still do, and I'm gonna implement that into what I do as well. But there are times when you can control it a little bit more. But I'm still a fan of the natural, raw emotion of things. But I'm also understanding that it's the execution that the people understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything can fall apart in the execution of an idea or a song or an album or anything like that. So you really gotta pay attention to the details.
So working with Dre, like, what were you guys working on while you guys were in the studio together?
Mostly his stuff. He's working on his stuff, you know, as usual.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's all I can say.
Were you ever hesitant? Because, like, he's been working on it for so many years, and it's like, well, here I am writing for Dre, and, like, the world may never hear this, or he may never use this.
Why would I be hesitant?
You know, just to, I don't know, I don't want to say waste of time, but, like, if you're not gonna use it, like, you know, Dre probably has hundreds of records that were made for Detox that are not being used. Yeah, from all kind of artists that have written for him.
Right. There's nothing to be hesitant about. You're in the studio with Dre.
Right.
Like, you get in there, it's an opportunity of a lifetime to be able to learn from one of the greatest producers and artists to ever walk this earth. And if you know, can't pull something out of that, then I don't know what to tell you. But, you know, whether things come out or they don't come out, Dre's at a point where he doesn't have to release music. He loves music. He loves making music. He makes this for fun. Like, people feel like they own artists sometimes, so they feel like they're required to put out music because they demand it. But he doesn't have to put out music if he doesn't want to. He's doing this for fun. He's making music with his friends. His friends are megastars, so we hear about it. But other than that, like, if he wants to release something, he will.
Right. What's been the most memorable session that you've been a part of with him?
The most memorable? Probably the first one. The first session I had with him, you know, I was just playing my part in the back, quiet. This was like the second time I met him, but the first time, you know, in recent years. And as, you know, somebody who can, you know, actually do something with him or whatever. So I sat, you know, and watched him and John Connor writing, working on a song with another singer, and the singer was demoing and he was fucking up. And, you know, Dre looked at me and was like, "You sing, right?" Like, "Yeah." He's like, you know the words?" And I was back there memorizing the words and everything that he was trying to get dude to do or whatever. So I got my shot and I sat down, got a one-on-one, you know, session with him in the room. See him, you know, sitting there. I'll show you the video after this. But sitting coaching me, like, you know, having Dr. Dre eye to eye with you, like less than 3 feet away from you. Like, there was a moment when I literally froze, like you said. Like, I froze. Like, I didn't freeze, but I was like, this is surreal. But I snapped, you know, out of it. I was like, I'm here for a reason. This is what I've wanted my whole life. I had to think about something specific to really snap me back into my zone. It's a girl, ironically. I was like, what if she was here? I can't freeze. Like, so she snapped me back into my zone. And, you know, I knocked it out. And Dre was impressed. I was back another time. So, well, from there, you know, we continued writing and stuff like that, and I got to put in my input and start writing stuff for him. So.
Is it how is it different writing for Dre than it is like your own music?
You're writing for somebody else.
Yeah.
You're trying to tap into somebody else's psychology and how would they say this? What would they think? You know, what were they doing? Stuff like that. That's a difficult thing to do. It all depends. If you're just writing stuff, you know, random, you know, money, cars, clothes, stuff like that. But when you're trying to write somebody's thoughts, unique thoughts, like, there's a level of understanding that you have to have as an artist that, you know, a lot of people don't have.
And it's very different too because we haven't heard like a Dre album in over a decade, so it's hard to like tap into his thoughts, you know, where he would be musically at this point.
Where people think Dre's at musically is not where he's at. Like, he's making literally the best music on this planet, and no one knows it but him and the people around him.
Which is unfortunate.
Which is unfortunate. I've been blessed to hear some things, but, you know, it's growth. You know, as you grow in music and in art, you know, you do different things, and it's one of those things that, you know, people don't accept it. People have a hard time accepting it, especially when when they've gotten a certain thing from you for so many years, and you give them something different. But yeah, I was like, you know, before I had the opportunity, I knew I'd get the shot to work with him or whatever. So it's like, when I get the shot, man, I'm gonna pick his brain, man, see where he's at, see where he wants to go. Because I have these ideas of where, you know, I have the things that I want to hear Dre. talk about, like, things that I'm curious about. And it's like, can I get Dre to do these things? And a lot of people were like, no way. But Dre's there, like, and he's open. He's the coolest dude in the world, and he's an artist, man. He respects other people's art and other people's opinions, and it's dope. Really dope.
So we saw John Connor recently announce that he signed the Aftermath. So with you being like, the only, I wouldn't say only, but like in terms of like who we see, who's been in the studio with Dre, like new artist wise, it's been you and John Connor. So is that the possibility of signing the Aftermath something that is on the table for you?
Anything's possible. Anything's possible, for sure.
Okay.
It's a matter of right time, right place, right circumstance.
Let's go back into the album. So when do you expect to be finished with the album?
I'd like to be done with it by May, June at the latest. It'd be great to finish early, but I'm really putting my time and heart into it. I don't want to just make another rap record and throw it out, for the sake of making a rap record and selling records and all that. Like, I really want to do something different, make an impact somehow, for lack of a better cliche, change the game, like literally do something different that makes people adjust what they do. So, and that's a complicated thing to do. You have to think about life, you have to consider life, you have to understand how life works, how people work, how psychology works, like how music psychology works. Music psychology is something that I've been studying for the last 12 years or so. Like, that's one of the biggest reasons why I even got into rap, like, as a profession. It was like, why does this music make me feel this way? Like, what is it about music that drives me emotionally, or that I feed off of? And that question is what, got me to look for the answers. And I had to find out through experience and through trying to be an artist and understanding the art and the game and everything else. And we can talk about this for years, days. I have thoughts, I have ideas, I have opinions. You know this, we always get into it online sometimes about this kind of stuff, but we take it for granted, man. We really do. Music. And I'm trying not to do that as an artist and as a consumer.
So what is the one thing that you would want people to take away from this album when they finally do hear it?
My goal for this record is a blueprint, really, a blueprint to getting through certain mental and physical obstacles and blocks that people may have. Like, it's a record that I wish I had when I was 17. If I had it then, I'd be a lot further in my process than I am now. But ultimately, it's art. Express yourself. Everybody should create in some way or another. It's the best way to live. It's the only way to survive is by being creative and expressing yourself. That's what hip-hop used to be about, was expressing yourself and speaking your mind in a place where you couldn't, or in a way that you couldn't on the street or in school or wherever else. So I'm trying to get back to that, and hope that people get back to that, because that's what rap is missing, hip-hop is missing. It's become just entertainment, and there's no substance anymore. So try and bring the substance back while entertaining at the same time.